Honorable Union Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ji, Honorable Minister of State for Finance, Shri Pankaj Chaudhary ji, Finance and Expenditure Secretary, Dr. T.V. Somnathan, Secretary, Department of Revenue, Shri Sanjay Malhotra, Secretary, Department of Financial Services, Shri Vivek Joshi, Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs, Shri Ajay Seth, Senior officers of the Union Finance Ministry, Senior officers of the State Government of Sikkim, officers from the Central GST and Income Tax Departments, officers from all departments of the Central and State Governments, stakeholders from the trade and industry, representatives of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to this post-budget interaction of the Honorable Union Finance and Corporate Affairs Minister. Before starting the function, I would request the Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax in charge of Sikkim and West Bengal, Shri Raju Kain, to kindly welcome the Honorable Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ma'am, to the satellite. Now may I please request him to welcome Honorable Minister of State for Finance, Shri Pankaj Chaudhary ji, with us happening. Now may I request sir to please welcome the Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs, Shri Ajay Seth, with us happening. Welcome the Secretary, Department of Revenue, Shri Sanjay Malhotra, to the satellite. Thank you, sir. I will now request the Chief Commissioner of Central GST, Kolkata, in charge of Sikkim, West Bengal and Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Shri Ashutosh Awasthi, to kindly welcome the Finance and Expenditure Secretary, Dr. T.V. Somnathan. To please welcome the Secretary, Department of Financial Services, Shri Vivek Joshi, to the satellite. Please welcome the Chief Secretary of Sikkim, Shri Vijay Bhushan Pathak, to the satellite. हमारी भारतीय परंपरा के अनुसार कोई भी शुभ कार्य का आरंभ दीप प्रज्वलन के साथ किया जाता है। मैं मंच पर विराजमान सभी गणमान्य व्यक्तियों से निवेदन करता हूँ कि कृपया दीप प्रज्वलित कर इस कार्यक्रम की औपचारिक शुरुआत करें। This is the first budget of the Amrit Kal, and it has given a specific focus towards the development of the northeastern states of India. Our Honorable Prime Minister has identified the northeastern states as Ashtalakshmi due to their immense potential of contributing towards the national aspirations of India. In light of this fact, I thank the Honorable Finance Minister to have taken out her valuable time to discuss the Union budget and its ground level impact with the people of Sikkim. Ma'am, with your permission, will you please start the interaction session? Thank you, ma'am. May I please request Shri S.I. Faisal, Commissioner Central GST Siliguri, to please come forward and moderate the question and answer session.
Honorable Finance Minister, Honorable Minister of State for Finance, dignitaries seated on the dais, senior officers seated in the hall, members of trade and industries and friends. We are greatly honored to host Honorable Finance Minister in this Himalayan state of Sikkim. Sikkim literally means happy homes. Sikkim is a land of monasteries, unique culture and rich biodiversity. Madam, with your kind permission, we may start question and answer session. Thank you, madam. I request Sri T.D. Bhutia, Senior Advisor to Travel Agent Association, to ask his question.
Yes, good evening. Madam,
खड़े होकर जरा पूछ लीजिए.
good evening everyone. Madam, we would like to address the Finance Minister in this budget. You all have included Vibrant Village program in which the focus is given on border tourism, development of border tourism. I know हम उस जगह से आते हैं जहाँ सिक्किम का लास्ट विलेज है, बॉर्डरिंग चाइना, लाचुन and लाचुन. These places, there is a huge potential of development for the village border tourism, and I would like to request Finance Madam Petrose, may be more infusion of budgets and financial help to for the development of infrastructure in these areas, where there is a lot of huge potential for development of tourism, which can bring a light the village, and for the this will bring a vibrant village, which the scheme is government scheme can be fulfilled. Thank you.
Next, I request Sri T.G. Lepcha, organic farmer, orange producer, entrepreneur, to ask his question.
Namaste, madam. Myself, Sri T.G. Lepcha, organic farmer from Gangtok, North Sikkim.
You can please sit down and talk.
Thank you. I would like to bring to you kind notice that state of Sikkim is also known for organic farming, organic state and horticulture scope. It seems that in the last decade, Sikkim has earned internationally reputed as an organic state. Our farmers and horticultures, which include rare species of flora and fauna. However, there is still enormous scope of growth in this sector. In this sector, we seek indulgence of Your Excellency to provide financial assistance and subsidies which will a creating more entrepreneurs, organic, organic farmers with their upliftment, and we need like a more labs like amino acid analyzers, vitamin and minerals, nutrition analysis, biomicrobial safety science, food product will be involved, and sustainable packaging, bioplastic packaging machines in fruit sector. And lastly, we as a farmer, as a entrepreneur, as a producer, we need wine testing lab if it is possible. As a major winemaking region in future of different food in Sikkim. So thank you very much, madam.
Srimati S.C. Bhutia, Taste Buds and Norla Boutique entrepreneur.
Good evening, ma'am. Myself, I'm Chintan Bhawan. I'm into chocolates making and handcraft business. I would like to request your excellency to encourage local entrepreneurs who are engaged in bakery and making handcraft using local available materials. Due to various reasons, these entrepreneurs are facing difficult to making their business economically value to promote their sectors. Can some sort of assistance be given by the central government? Thank you.
Please sit down. In fact, just for us to locate, you may just stand up so that we see where you are. You may please sit down and raise your issues. Thank you.
Sri Randeep Singh Khati, Village Tourism Entrepreneur.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Randeep. I'm basically working with farmhouse and promoting village tourism. And my simple question would be to Honorable Man would be, Madam, youths of Sikkim is promoting village tourism by constructing homestays in remote areas of the state. Through these activities, we are promoting tourism in the state and generating employment in villages. Homestay tourism is gaining popularity in villages as tourists are more interested in spending time in remote areas to know the local culture, food habits, and eco-friendly environment of Sikkim. In this regards, people of Sikkim are receiving support from state government in the form of grant and for constructing homestays. Your Excellency, would it be possible to extend such similar support from central government as well, so as to promote more village tourism? And another thing I would like to add on this is, as Nepal is having a huge amount of foreigner tourists, and we have got one border, land border, which connects us with Nepal, and it comes to, which is just 130 kilometers away from Sikkim. But my request would be, if you could request the concerned authority to open up the immigration office over there, as it has been closed from 2020 and it's still not open. And if we have this channel open, then we can have a good amount of foreigner inbound tourists in Sikkim and Darjeeling. Thank you, ma'am.
Sri Michelle Chandler, Chartered Accountant, Gangtok. Yes.
For the 4 or 5 issues which have been raised, we try to give our views. And then we come to it. At the time, 3 or 4 questions. Okay. Now that we've already had 4 or 5 comments, we give a round of responses.
So, a partial response to some of the things that you have said. We've taken note of the suggestions to the extent that they are suggestions, and certainly we work on. I must also mention that the Ministry of Finance primarily provides funding for many of these initiatives. The administrative responsibility or the people who actually run the schemes are the respective other ministries of Government of India. Nevertheless, note is being taken of your suggestions. A few points for your information. First, on the Vibrant Village program, it very much does encompass the kind of things that we have been mentioning, and it is something that is part of the design of the Vibrant Village program. There was a request for more funding for organic farming. You may be aware that there is a Paramparagat Krishi Yojana under the Ministry of Agriculture. There is actually substantial funding available there. I think the challenge it may be for the farmers in Sikkim to access it even better, and that is something that I would request you to engage with both the state and the central government on. There was a request regarding amino acid analyzers, sustainable packaging, wine tasting, etc. Again, suggestions have been taken note of. There are schemes both in the Ministry of Food Processing Industries and in the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, which can potentially assist in each of these points that you have raised. As regards the encouragement of local bakery, handicrafts, and other local products, again, I'm not necessarily giving a complete answer, I'm giving a partial answer. I'm giving you information so that you also know where to take it further. So, in this budget, I want to highlight an announcement that was made regarding increased credit for micro, small, and medium enterprises. The Government of India is expanding the scope of the CGT MSc Credit Guarantee Scheme. Actually, the size of that scheme at an all India level is being doubled from a current level of approximately 1.7 lakh crores to an additional 2 lakh crores. The special feature of this is it can now give credit in individual cases of up to 5 crores without collateral security, and the cost of credit is also going down by approximately 1% from 1st of April. I would draw your attention to this and say that you should actively pursue this with the banks, both nationalized banks and other banks. And similarly, there is a program called the Prime Minister's Employment Guarantee Program, which under the Ministry of MSME, in which smaller enterprises of this kind can actually access them, and that would apply even to some of the smaller tourism-related enterprises. On tourism, I just want to mention an initiative that is coming. You may be aware that there was a major paragraph in the budget speech on tourism. The government is proposing to create a new tourism organization which will be similar to those in Singapore and Japan, that will coordinate between state, center and private sector so that tourists have an enhanced, more coordinated and higher quality experience. And I think you will eventually see benefits of that in states like Sikkim as well. On the point of immigration, I will pass on this information to the Ministry of Home Affairs. It's an interesting and valid point. If it's been closed since 2020, we've taken note of that and will pass on it.
Yes. And there are other schemes under Mudra you can get for bakeries up to 10 lakh rupees of loan. Then we have a Stand Up India scheme also given by our bank. And the figures given to me shows that in Sikkim there is quite a good offtake of these schemes. I'm sure you are aware of that. I will advise you to connect with your banker. Then probably you will get to know more about these schemes in detail.
Just to inform the person who spoke about the border villages, Vibrant Village program. I'm in fact going to Lachin tomorrow.
You are welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Only to see and ensure that all government schemes are attaining saturation there. So if there are any eligible person left behind without the scheme accessing them or reaching them, I want to ensure that it reaches them. So that is one thing. Second, under the Vibrant Villages program, whatever has been proposed, I want to see if each one of those items are getting fulfilled there, actually connectivity, teleconnections, and also the basic infrastructure in that village. So I will be viewing it in person, going around the village also, and to the almost to the border areas, till where it is permitted, and making sure that this shall not be my first visit or only visit. This year I want to follow it up to make sure that Lachin and the border there, and the villages around there are fully going to be meeting everything which is promised in the budget. So more than one.
Now I request Sri Michelle Chandak, Chartered Accountant, Gangtok Study Circle of Chartered Accountants, Senior Member, to ask his question. Sri Michelle Chandak. Good afternoon, respected madam.
Well, it has, the industrialization process in the entire Northeast has been very nice and very good since the last 5 to 10 years, ma'am. And it's been growing at a rapid and accelerating rate. So there is this, in income tax, there is this section called Section 80IE, which is still there, very much prevalent, and which provides for the tax rebate for the industries set up in the entire Northeast. But this has been diluted to some extent, ma'am, by way of ordinance in 2019, by insertion of section 115BAA in the income tax, ma'am, which says that for the reduction of the corporate tax rate by 10%. So either the industries, either the SECs has to follow section 115BAA, which provides the corporate tax rebate, or do away with the exemptions based in the Northeast, ma'am. So our request is, ma'am, if the section 80IE or the area-based exemptions can go on parallelly, that will be very nice, ma'am, for the entire Northeast and for the industrialization activity for the entire Northeast part of the country, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Sri Santosh Singh, Vice President, Sikkim Chambers of Commerce.
Namaskar, madam. Myself, Santosh Singh, Vice President, Sikkim Chamber of Commerce. I, on behalf of our members and business community, heartily welcomes you to a beautiful and peaceful state of Sikkim. We also express our heartfelt gratitude towards your good self for giving us this opportunity of being heard. We also congratulate yourself for presenting futuristic Budget 2023. Madam, we would like to know that the increase of capital expenditure by 33%, amounting to a total of 10 lakh crores, will help boost the infrastructure of road and railways. How northeastern states, specifically Sikkim, will get benefit from this scheme? The next point is the increase in allocation towards the PM Awas Yojana, a 66% increase. Why is this significant? Thank you.
Sri Vinay Chaturvedi, Plant Head, Zuantis Healthcare Limited.
मेरा नाम विनय चतुर्वेदी है और मैं एक जुवेंटस हेल्थकेयर लिमिटेड फार्मा फील्ड से हूँ। आपका स्वागत है सिक्किम में। जैसा कि मैम आप भी जानते हैं कि NEIII के स्कीम के तहत में 2007 में ये इंसेंटिव्स वगैरह शुरू की गई थी फार्मा ग्रोथ के लिए यहाँ पे, और 10 साल के लिए एलिजिबिलिटी थी इसकी। तो जिन लोगों ने 2017 तक इसमें अपने आप को इनरोल किया, 2027 में उनका टेन्योर खत्म होगा अगेंस्ट ऑल जो भी इनके इंसेंटिव्स मिल रही हैं, जिसमें इनकम टैक्स की बेनिफिट्स थी और इस कैपिटल सब्सिडी भी थी 58% के तकरीबन। और आपसे मेरा यही जानना चाहते हैं कि क्या ये फर्दर स्कीम आगे लागू रहेगी या इसमें कुछ और इंसेंटिव्स ऐड ऑन होंगे जिससे कि फार्मा की जो ग्रोथ है यहाँ पे आगे जा सके। दूसरी बात ये कि जितनी भी डोमेस्टिक मार्केट्स हैं इंडिया की मोस्टली सिक्किम से ही कैटर होती है, तो हमारा क्वेश्चन यही है कि क्या इस स्कीम को आगे बढ़ाई जाएगी या इसमें और कुछ अमेंडमेंट्स करके इसको लागू किया जाएगा। थैंक यू मैम।
The question which was asked from Chamber of Commerce on two issues, increase in the capex, capital expenditure, as well as on rural housing. Government for the last 3 to 4 years has been paying special attention to building infrastructure. One, the building infrastructure adds to the growth as well as to the jobs. And that becomes important that it goes to all areas. And if you recall that the last budget has also provided assistance for the states in the northeast. Plus, there is assistance for the state government also as a 50-year interest-free loan for the capital expenditure. So these are the ones, build infrastructure, and I am coming to the state after 35 years and I am seeing that kind of a pressure on on the infrastructure which has created. So we have to keep up pace with that. As far as rural housing is concerned, government goal is very clear. The saturation. Each household, the poor household must have good pakka house. There is no point in giving few houses, it must be a saturation. So increases, massive increase is to make sure that every household, poor household gets a house.
Yeah, I would just like to supplement that answer with some more information for you. In the increase in capital expenditure of 33%, there are two elements. There is an increase on the central side, and then there is an increase in the 50-year interest-free loan which is given to state governments. So the provision for interest-free loan to state governments, which was 1 lakh crore in 2022-23, is going up to 1,30,000 crores in 23-24. And this amount has two components. There is a component which is allocated to states and which does not have a specific previous purpose prescribed by the center. That is actually the bulk of the scheme. The projects are chosen by the state government according to the needs of the state. Under this category, we normally go by the Finance Commission's devolution formula for state governments as to how much each state gets. But in the case of Sikkim and the northeastern states, we have allocated amounts which are much larger than what is given by the Finance Commission as their share of national devolution. So Sikkim gets a more than proportionate share of the amount of 1 lakh crore, etc., which is being given under the scheme, and that is going up to 1,30,000. So for instance, current year, Sikkim is expected to utilize about 400 crores under this interest-free loan for schemes chosen by the government of Sikkim. These are not priorities of the government of India, these are locally chosen priorities. In addition, the schemes of the NHIDCL for roads in the northeastern region are also receiving a big increase through this enhanced capital budget. I would also take this opportunity just to give you some information on the overall increases for schemes specific to the Northeast, in which Sikkim also gets a share. So the schemes of the Northeast Council, the actual expenditure in 2021-22 was 387 crores. The budget for the current year, that is 22-23, was 644 crores, and next year the budget is 800 crores. Similarly, for the Northeast Special Infrastructure Development Scheme, the actual expenditure in the previous financial year was 790 crores. The current year's revised estimates are 1,233, and next year's budget is 2,491. It's more than 100% increase for infrastructure in the Northeast. And then the newly announced scheme, which was announced in last year's budget, PM Divine, which is Prime Minister's Development Initiative for the Northeastern region, which is a new scheme. 400 crores in the revised estimates of the current year will rise to 2,200 crores next year. So there are substantial increases in the specific schemes of the Northeast, apart from the general increase in capital.
On the tax exemption part, I would just like to say that the move of the government, you would have noticed in the past few years, has been to have, a simplified taxation structure And so when you have exemptions, whether it is based on area or whether it is on the income tax side related to investments, or even on the GST side, you are aware that there used to be exemptions for investment and sales, etc. So the government has been trying to simplify, number one, and at the same time make the taxation more transparent. And so in that move, the various exemptions that were available pre-GST, you are aware, they have gone. We have tried to, of course, on the central GST part, we have tried to retain the exemptions which were already grandfathered them to a certain extent, not fully. Similarly, you are aware that on the income tax side, we have not increased the exemptions, if not, done away with them. So the move is essentially, towards simplification, and it is in that context, I suppose, you are making mention of the Section 80, etc., area-based exemptions which are there. Probably you are referring to the new section under which there is a 15% now without any exemption. So that makes taxation very simple, very transparent, and known to everyone. Because on the one hand, we keep hearing that taxation is very complex. It's very difficult for a common man to understand as to what the taxation rate is. And so we are trying to move away with taxation as the instrument, as the primary instrument for incentivizing certain things. That doesn't mean that backward areas, or if there are some other investments or other activities which need to be promoted, that will not be promoted. So if it is backward areas or other areas that need to be promoted, you can see that there is more emphasis now on infrastructure, whether it is through capex this year or last year or through other means. The emphasis is to provide support so that they don't remain dependent only on incentives, subsidies and grants. And we enable them, we equip them through better infrastructure, through better entrepreneurship, better capacity building, skill upgradation programs, all of which you have seen in the past few budgets, including this one. Huge increase in outlay. Thank you.
Now I request Sri Vishal Jain, Chartered Accountant, member of the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, Siliguri, to ask his question.
Namaste, Honorable Finance Minister Madam. We take this opportunity to appreciate the budget which has been presented by you, covering the various sectors equally. My question is regarding the GST rate on online coaching education system. The rate today is 18%. Burden of 18% directly hit the students who are availing these coaching services from different villages and various other sectors. So the question is only that, ma'am, if this rate could be reduced, because there is no big capex being involved in the education setup of such online coaching centers, whereby they can avail the high rate of ITC. So 18% could be moderated to 12%. It would be great for such students who are availing these services as an online education services. Thank you, ma'am.
Sri Ramesh Pariwal, President Sikkim Chemist Association.
Good afternoon. Namaskar, madam. मैं रमेश पेरीवाल, representing the chemist fraternity of Sikkim. Honorable Madam, although Sikkim is a very small consumer state in respect of sale of medicines and surgical items, most of the time it is seen that the variety of rate structure in medicine has confused the ailing buyer. I have an opinion that 5% rate be fixed for all those medicines also which are placed in 12% category, which will help the weaker section of society at large. Thank you.
Sri Hora, Chartered Accountant, ex-chairman, Confederation of Indian Industry, North Bengal.
Good evening, madam. Honorable madam, these days GST portal is working quite smoothly and we appreciate the efforts. However, can we expect a portal coming up whereby all the cases being initiated by various departments like CGST, SGST, DGI and audit can be made available under the common portal so that there is no multiplicity of cases, same cases being initiated involving time and energy of both the department and the professionals. Thank you.
Any question?
Most of the questions you have raised are, pertaining to GST. You are aware GST, is a subject of not only the center but also of the state, and we do not take up, through the budget. However, and so, these rates which we have talked about in reference to online coaching, then, on medicines, we have taken note thereof. And we put it up, to the GST Council wherever there is merit in some of these suggestions, and the decision is ultimately, to be taken on the recommendations of the GST Council. So we'll examine these two suggestions which have come in. Regarding the third one, which is related to the GST portal, this suggestion that the notices which are issued, there is a committee in almost all the states, and I would strongly urge, if such a committee is not functional here in Sikkim, that can be done, in which representatives of both the state and the center are represented, so that these issues where there are multiple notices being issued by both central and state agencies to one particular supplier itself, that question itself does not arise. So the GST, I think both finance of Sikkim and the GST Commissioner, Central GST Commissioner are present here. I urge them that they can form this committee, and so that these are awarded. Nevertheless, there can be exceptions, as you have mentioned. We will see how we can resolve this issue so that once a notice is issued by one department, it is done only through the portal, is your suggestion. And so the others come to know, and then they do not, then issue this notice. So we will also, internally also, we will examine this issue. Thank you.
Moving ahead, Srimati Smita Rai, Namchi Designer Candles Entrepreneur.
A very good evening, madam, and a good evening to all the gentlemen seated there in the dais. I'm Smita Rai from Namchi, South Sikkim. Actually, I've almost got the answer to the question that I've prepared for you this evening, yet I cannot miss on this opportunity to address this prestigious house. My question is, madam, of the various schemes introduced in the budget for boosting the entrepreneurship startup culture in the Northeast region, there is one scheme, that is MSME Credit Guarantee Scheme. Madam, could you please elaborate the said scheme and how could this scheme benefit a woman entrepreneur like me who works with the rural women of the state? Thank you so much.
Srimati Reena Rai, Studio Marto Entrepreneur.
Good evening, ma'am. We welcome you to Sikkim and all the dignitaries here. My name is Reena Rai, and I have a small ceramic unit in Pakyong, which is the newly formed district of Sikkim. And we work with a lot of self-help group in terms of training them and empowering them. And we also are trying to revive an old age tradition of pottery here in Sikkim. So we really welcome the National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme that has been started by your esteemed department. And also we were just going through the budget, and even the Dekho Apna Desh initiative is very much welcome here, especially in terms of since we have our Chief Secretary and the Finance Secretary here of Sikkim, maybe in the next policy for the following year, if we could initiate Dekho Apna Desh. Maybe we could encourage, in terms of travel and tourism, we could encourage more of handicrafts. Places like Okri, where we have beautiful blanket weaving. We could encourage more of wood carving and carpet weaving. So, in collaboration with the tourism department, so we could, help in sustainable development of the state. And also, I really welcome the Unity Mall, ma'am, where you've talked about one district, one product, and especially the GI and the handicrafts. I think this is amazing for people like me who work in the handicraft region, because handicraft, India is so diverse, and its handicrafts are like, and with the G20 summit happening in India, there's been a lot of emphasis on handicrafts. So I think this is a very well-timed scheme. And hopefully with all these schemes, ma'am, I'm hoping that startups and small setups, micro unit setups like us, could look forward to an easier compliance. Thank you, ma'am.
Srimati Karishma Pradhan, Charismatic Academy Entrepreneur.
A very good evening, ma'am, and good evening to all the dignitaries sitting with us today. I am Karishma Pradhan. I own an event management and a training institute. My question is pertaining to the small taxpayers, though we've already heard a bit about the GST and how it's going to affect these small taxpayers. But still, I have to put this question to you today. After the implementation of GST, large businesses with enough employees can handle the entire process easily. However, for small taxpayers, traders, merchants, service providers, or individuals who have just started business, it is still a little complex. So how will the new budget benefit the small taxpayers? Thank you.
So I will start with the question on the credit guarantee scheme and how does it operate. I'll give you the information. It's operated through the banks, both nationalized banks and other banks. The scheme is behind the scenes. So what does this scheme do? When a bank extends credit to a small entrepreneur or to a new entrepreneur, in their minds they have a perception of risk that perhaps this person will not repay this loan, and that risk sometimes dissuades them from extending credit. So what the CGTMSE is a credit guarantee trust, which is a Government of India institution. The Government of India provides money to this trust, and the trust then gives an assurance to the bank that if you give a loan to an entrepreneur under this scheme, then a particular percentage of that loan is guaranteed by the trust without any collateral. That is, you don't have to give collateral of land or machinery or working capital or whatever. You take a loan, the government organization, the government essentially says to the bank, if this person does not repay, the government will pay you a percentage, typically 80% of that loan. So it drastically reduces the risk for the bank in making that loan, number one. And secondly, because the loan is guaranteed to this extent, the interest rate which the bank charges on the loan can also come down, and they add a small fee to that loan to cover the cost of the guarantee. So this year what has been done is, the government is infusing more capital into that trust, because of which the amount of credit that it's like, with more money they can give more loans. So they're going to be able to double the volume of such loans which they can give through the banks. And because we have given them extra money, they are reducing the guarantee fee, which will also reduce the interest rate paid by the borrower. But this is administered through banks, and you should approach banks, particularly nationalized banks. And the scheme is a government-funded scheme, the benefit of which is meant for entrepreneurs like you, and it covers loans up to, currently it covers loans up to 2 crores per borrower, now it will cover loans up to 5 crores per borrower. And earlier the guarantee fee, which was being added to the interest rate, was approximately on average 1.3 to 1.4%. Now it will be 0.3% or lower in some cases. So that is the benefit of that particular scheme which you were asking about. On the points on national apprenticeship promotion schemes, as you rightly said, these are helpful to your sector. I want to just add draw your attention to one more announcement in the budget, which is this Vishwakarma, that is promotion of handicrafts which are made and all persons who work with their hands using tools. So it falls directly in the area that you were mentioning. This PM Vikas scheme is being formulated. The specific details are currently under discussion between the ministries concerned, which includes the Development Commissioner, Handicrafts, and the Ministry of Textiles, etc. And it is likely to be launched soon. I think that will also be of considerable benefit to you. On the small taxpayers question, there are certain specific announcements for the income tax on small taxpayers.
So on your question, related to GST, first of all, every state has, and even your state would be having a limit of turnover below which you don't need to register under GST. In the normal states, it is 40 lakh for goods, 20 lakh for services. Smaller states, I think it is half. So probably here in Sikkim, it should be 20 lakh and 10 lakh. So this is one thing, which is there for small taxpayers. They don't have to, go through the hassle of GST. The other thing is that the GST in itself provides for free accounting software for businesses having turnover up to 1.5 crore rupees annually. So this is the other thing. Regarding what the budget has if this budget has for the small taxpayers, on the GST side, I would like to draw your attention to the fact that in this budget, we are allowing small taxpayers to also, through e-commerce, till previously those which are registered within the state and which are not registered for interstate sales were not allowed to use e-commerce operators for their interstate sales. So now this budget, through this the finance bill in this budget, we are going to allow that. So this is on the GST side. On the income tax side, the limit of 2 crore turnover for presumptive taxation of 6% with digital payments and 8% without digital payments. This limit is now being increased to 3 crore rupees for small enterprises and traders. So this is another relief, for the small taxpayers on the income tax side. If I can add to the observation which was made on the Unity Mall, this is a very unique scheme, and there's a money in the budget that the state government can get interest-free loan, 50-year interest-free loan, to construct one Unity Mall in each state, and most likely the place which has the most number of tourists come in, or the state capital as the state will choose. It is not just about one district, one product, so it may be a significant number. That mall will provide a space for all other states, apart from its own products, it will provide for. So say, such a mall in Sikkim or Gangtok will have a space for 35 other states and union territories. Similar manner, Sikkim will also get space in all other 35 states and union territories. And with a bit of hand-holding by the state government or through some aggregator from Sikkim, then that many outlets gets opened up, and that opens up the market for not just for handicrafts but even for organic products. There was a question arose that how does organic products from Sikkim can be promoted, especially the processed product if they are moving from here. There may be a different offtake in different states. Some states handicrafts may move forward, some states organic products may move forward, and some states maybe the clothing may move forward. So this is a good opportunity to get into the marketing reach, and maybe an industry association here or a group of entrepreneurs coming together, getting that kind of a reach to the market, meaning that each state's unique product which are unable to find, it doesn't become possible for them to get the India-wide market for each state. That is what this, and mostly from smaller entrepreneurs or the handicraft, crafts people, etc. That's a scheme. It's an extremely well thought out scheme, and I request that Chief Secretary is here to work with the entrepreneurs here, how that good benefit can be taken of this scheme. Thank you.
तय समय सीमा के अनुसार हम अब सिर्फ एक दो क्वेश्चन ही ले सकते हैं, अगर मैडम परमिट करें तो। ओके, आई रिक्वेस्ट श्री राज लामा, Sikkim Entrepreneurship and Economic Development Cell, Seed Society, to ask his question.
Namaste, madam. Thank you, madam, for coming all over from Delhi to Sikkim to visit us. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, my name is Raj Lama. I represent the MSME Association of Sikkim, our organization called Seed Cell. So basically, I have got two things to say to you, ma'am. Like, since I got this opportunity to talk to you, ma'am, today, one-to-one. Ma'am, in Sikkim, it's easy to get back loan up to 20 lakh rupees from banks. But below 20 lakh, it's very difficult to get loan. And that part I just want to highlight to you also, man. Since PSUs are the major source of funding for the entrepreneurs of Sikkim, that is the main thing, man. Because since Northeast is already not in the corporate big level, we are not listed in the 500 companies of the National Stock Exchange. Till now, we don't have any unicorns in Sikkim from Northeast, man. So, but then the other India is growing like anything, and we really need some of the help from the government of India to really push up entrepreneurship in Sikkim, man. Without government support, this region won't be able to give you the revenue what you're expecting from this northeast region, man. And another thing is that, man, I request you to give us some seed back, some seed funding, so that we can entrepreneurs can also get all state funding. Since there is no venture fund in Sikkim till now operating, and I think the government has to step in for this also, man. I would suggest you that is maybe simply back funding to the northeast entrepreneurs to get funding, so that we can also grow and tomorrow we can be a part of this greater India, and we can also give you revenue to this country. Thank you so much, man.
Sri Manoj Agarwal, Chartered Accountant, Gangtok Study Circle of Chartered Accountant.
Jai Hind, madam. Madam, CA Manoj Agarwal here. I am representing Sikkim Chamber of Commerce as well as the Chartered Accountant Association. SBLDRS, Sabka Vishwas Legacy Dispute Resolution Scheme. Madam, that was a big success, and due to some reason, many taxpayers could not avail that amnesty scheme. So, in case there is any plan for reintroducing such amnesty scheme, or as SBLDRS to reduce the litigation, madam.
I think you are referring to the GST scheme.
Service tax,
service tax, all the yes, all the taxes that got
those cases under appeal cases.
Yeah, those cases, those taxes which got subsumed under the GST. So see, that was a one-time scheme because GST had come in, all those taxes got subsumed in it, and so and those taxes are not going to come in again. So otherwise, amnesty in itself. In how many times can you give an amnesty? And I believe there should not be many cases which should be left now. Most of them would have availed the benefits. There are many cases you are saying there? Okay.
Yes, sir. Like,
okay.
Because the appeals are pending and things are.
But I mean, see, there was a time limit, a period was given. It was already, the tax was due, some amnesty was given. That was not availed. This request has not come to us from anywhere. It's coming to us for the first time. For this particular scheme, we will have a look at it.
I want to add on the loan part, above 20 lakhs there are problems. Because of local laws, wherever collaterals are required, there will be problem. Because banks are not able to take the collaterals from the creditor. In those cases only there will be problems. But for the cases which were earlier explained by the Honorable Finance Secretary with regard to credit guarantee scheme, I don't think there should be any problem. And so far the data is concerned, till last year or before last year there were problems in till 21. And after that, I believe Chief Secretary who is sitting here has taken a lot of interest, and our local branch of RBI and all the bankers, they have been able to bring this credit CD ratio, above national level, which was 45 till December 2021. Now it is 58. And among the northeastern state, if we include the Sikkim Bank also, State Bank of Sikkim, then probably among northeastern states, Sikkim is having the highest credit to GSDP ratio. So it doesn't seem like, I also took a meeting yesterday with bankers. There is a lot of improvement with the effort put in by the state government and the local RBI branch and SLBC in last 2 years.
Is there more questions to be asked?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yep.
Good evening, ma'am. My name is Chintan Bhawan, and I'm Vice President, Travel Agent Association of Sikkim. Ma'am, the topic which I would like to tell you is regarding the COVID relief measure which you had announced, I think in 2021, where you had, where the finance department had mentioned that the travel agent who are registered under ministry MOT, they were eligible for 10 lakhs, as far as I know, and a tour guide who are registered under a regional or a state level department were eligible for 1 lakh. Ma'am, we had in fact submitted all our documents, everything to our department, tourism department, and in fact tourism department had written, they had follow up with all our documents to the Ministry of Tourism, ma'am. Till now we have not got any information as such. And also, ma'am, in the future, if you are going to come up with relief measures like this, as ma'am, in Sikkim we have around 2,000 plus travel agents, but none of them are registered under ministry. There is only one travel agent, which he's our member only, ma'am. He was only qualified for that. Ma'am, if you see right now also, we can see a lot of big industry players in front of me, ma'am. We are a very small player which we have been very badly hit, and I would like to request if you come up with any relief measure to help our tourism stakeholders in Sikkim, including the drivers, hoteliers, everyone. Thank you so much, and ma'am, and we would be submitting our memorandum from our association. Later I will submit to one of the officials from our state. Thank you so much.
Entire batch of memoranda that you had given with all the names of the guides or tourist operators.
Yes, ma'am.
Which you said you had earlier supplied or submitted to the tourism ministry.
Yes, ma'am. Ministry, yes.
Government of India.
Yes.
You must resend it to us.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You can give it to. You can actually give it to the Chief Secretary's office, and I request the Chief Secretary to forward it.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You are saying that you are all registered within the state.
We are registered under the state government, but not registered.
That's fine, but just pass it on.
Okay, ma'am.
But in this context,
yes, ma'am,
I'll request you,
yes, ma'am,
and I'll request the state administration to equally keep a complete, exhaustive data bank of tourism-related stakeholders.
Okay.
Guides, authorize them, whoever you want to authorize. We are not telling you to authorize X, Y, Z.
Yes, ma'am.
Tour operators in a state like Sikkim where tourism is of high potential.
Yes.
The minimum expected is to have a clear database of who are the people who are recognized by tourism. And if you've already sent it and it's not been recognized or acknowledged, please forward one to your state chief secretary.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
I'll be glad to receive it.
Thank you so much.
I have something to add. First of all, I'm very glad to be here. And it also pleases me to see so many women entrepreneurs being here and talking. I wish the numbers grow and you make a difference to the state. I think the secretaries have answered each for their respective areas, the questions of clarity that you so sought from them. But I'm using this opportunity because your state administration is here, and I can see so much of potential not being optimally realized. I begin with our friend Mr. Lepcha, who's sitting there. Organic farming, I had come sometime between 2016 and 17, I think, when Sikkim was declared the first organic state of this country. Am I right? 16, 17 sometime? I distinctly remember, and Honorable Prime Minister making a clear statement saying we are very proud that there is one state which says it's completely organic. You should have actually grown multiple fold by now. I want the state administration to honestly, clearly have a plan as to how you want to scale that up. We've actually lost a lot of time, I would say. If between 16 and today, you are not giving a template for the rest of the country who are now joining on to the organic race, you've already missed the bus. You shouldn't take any longer. I want the state government to prepare a blueprint or with a timeline saying what are you going to do, how are you going to do, which are the segments you want to build first and which are the segments you want to build later, or whatever, the way in which you want to build, after consulting the stakeholders. And unless a state like Sikkim, which has a natural advantage in organic, which you've already proven, having announced that you're the first state, you should have a clear progress chart of how you move from one to another. The fruits grown here are naturally organic. That should be finding export market. Because why export? Wouldn't Indians want to use it? No, Indians would want to use it, but you have a greater realization of price. And you earn in foreign currency. So I would suggest there should be a plan immediately from the Sikkim government for the organic. And in that, one addition, which I'm thinking is an addition, probably you've already thought about it. Millets. How many of the Sri Anna grow here? I know for sure. And I've tasted some of them, which are naturally grown. I've even had a very romantic picture brought before me saying how they are collected and how they are powdered, made into a powder through mills which run with flowing water. The chakki runs with flowing water, and naturally, without excess heat being generated, that Sri Anna or whatever millet it is pounded, and it is one of the best breakfast dish. I've been generously supplied with one such a thing, where I used to pour hot milk into it with some honey. Delicious, nutritious meal. I'm sure Sikkim can take a lead on it. I don't know the name, but anything which goes through this process, that's the one which is referring to. Unbelievably tasty. So why would you want to have a handmade, processed, without using electricity processed? Package it beautifully. And I'm not here to, between one northeast state to another, bring in examples to say you're not doing it, somebody's doing it, but good examples can always be put before, like the way you have become the first organ. In terms of packaging and branding, Nagaland, what work they have done. And I'm sure, similar work is going on in Sikkim too, but we have not seen it yet. I would think purely on organic, the state government should have, if necessary, some consultants who are Sikkimis themselves who probably can do a brilliant job. Nobody needed from outside. Some young group of startups come in to see how best the aggregation can happen. After all, these are produced locally in little small villages, aggregated, packet, branded, and find global markets using e-portals. So that is a strong recommendation I'd like to give the Sikkim administration. One, purely on getting a roadmap for organic, two on Shriyam, the minutes. Then another suggestion which I give you is, again, one of the Northeast, Assam, has gone in to see how best startups in Assam can be promoted. The Indian Institute of Technology in Guwahati has become the nodal center in which they are making sure all potential startups are brought together and hand-holding happens. Somebody comes to tell them how to meet a challenge which is posed, so that once the challenge is successfully addressed, their proposition gets money. They can then plan it to scale it up, give a solution and scale it up and so on. Sikkim should, for Sikkim's youth, have some institution identified in which that institution becomes a nodal, in which you attach potential startup youth to understand how best they can join this startup, I don't want to say race, but healthy competition. Get into that and become a part of the national startup ecosystem, with pharma industry being dominant here. Startup industries, startups can also have some challenges to meet pharma industry's solution seeking. Similarly, for Sikkim's own native products, bringing value addition for them. And similarly, connectivity related issues. There are so many things which you desperately need now. On that, hold challenges. Bring in some IIT Madras like place which is already doing a lot of hand-holding for startups, and explain how to get into this world of startups and make a difference. You should hold the meet, I would think. And in that, tourism and organic products to be first taken up, because it has immediate base here. Then there was a lot of talk about village tourism. Excellent thought. And I know there are today aggregators like OYO, am I right? OYOs who do homestays. They come and look at your property, talk to you, tell you about what kind of visitors can come, and once you meet up their standards without taking away the uniqueness of the home that you're talking about. OYO helps. I'm not promoting OYO, first let that be clear. I'm taking that as an example so that you understand. OYO or BOYO, whatever, whoever does it for you, does it. But be actually looking out for that. You have splendid homes. You can ask them to come and visit a Bhutia home, a Lepcha home, a Nepali home in the villages. See how I've been to a Bhutia home, and it has been fascinating experience. You get into it, there's a central fireplace in which all the meat hang. I'm a vegetarian, but then the meat hangs, and they're cured for the whole year, and you keep taking out of it and cooking, and the entire family sits around it, warming themselves and having the dinner. Such memories, very strong memories for me on it. And I love to go back, and nothing put me off. But it was brilliant. It's such a strong memory. So if some kind of a startup like who works in village tourism is brought in by the state government, and in the meanwhile, those of you who want to get into having your own property become also a village tourism property, some kind of a matchmaking can happen with the state government's efforts. From then you'll know you can promote, saying, that agency provides you the application required. You put your details into it, the pictures. I can tell you, cities which have been receiving foreign tourists till now, very frequently too, now have seen an increased number, an influx almost, where they started saying, not only are you coming and visiting our monuments, temples, whatever, or beaches, you also can stay in one of the traditional households. Eat their food, be with them, see how they dress, how the house is kept. That I idea has now suddenly brought more tourists in. I know I sent a group to Tanjavur, which is in Tamil Nadu, which is the place of the highest temple. You would have heard of the big temple. I've similarly asked them to go to Rameshwaram, which is on the sea coast. They are receiving immense interest. I'm sure if state government takes the initiative to call some of these aggregators and bring those people of Sikkim who want to have, this homestay option, we can easily put them together and promote homestay options. And I'm glad so many of you all spoke about it, but the state government should move on it immediately to get those people coming in. Vivek has spoken, the Secretary EFS has spoken about banks. He's reviewed one yesterday also. Tomorrow when I'm going to Lachen, I will be, as I said, looking at getting saturation through banks' promoted schemes. NABARD chief has also come with me. He will also be with us to see how through NABARD, which is an underwriter in the sense of it is the one which is behind the public sector banks to promote many of the government schemes, whether it is in agriculture or anything else. He's also with us, so that when we go there, we want to arrive at saturation. It cannot happen tomorrow, but it will start tomorrow. But I would request the Secretary DFS to once visit Sikkim, Gangtok, not really go to Lachen, but sit in Gangtok, get all the SLBCs, have the Chief Secretary with you, do a complete review of which bank has promoted how much in which scheme, and so for every scheme, and get a good feel. I can do it for Lachen tomorrow, but I wish to do it for the entire state to see no district gets ignored. And in that, I hope it's been effective, but I would want to make it better. Through the stand-up, those who are promoting pottery in a particular area, say Patong, or carpets from some area, something else from some others, under stand-up they should have been covered. If not, please make a review of it and make sure that it gets extended. And the last point is on the Unity Mall proposition on which Secretary Economic Affairs Ajay Seth has elaborated. I don't know if one district, one product has been announced in Sikkim. Have you? Every district has a product? Fine. So for that, one other thing is creating common facility in the district. I don't know, for instance, the carpet weaving. In that district, if it is being declared as one of the district products, is it one district, one product item? The carpets? Each one is in each district? So I don't know which district it is for carpet weaving. South. I take that example. South, if it is carpet weaving, I can see quite violent head saying, no. Why? It's not? Carpets are not in there?
It's candles in South District.
Huh?
We haven't declared it as such, but
Okay. I'm sure the process is on and they will declare it, but if, for instance, now you heard the Chief Secretary say, carpet weaving is for the South District, I would want, see that's why it helps women, the others won't say it, they said it. So the carpet, you take care in case anybody calls you, just send the message to me. How did you manage to say this before the finance minister? No problem. So, South District, for example, if I take that example, carpet, one district, one product, South Sikkim, there are schemes through which the banks can fund creation of common facilities where women can sit together and do the work. Or if you're more comfortable in doing it in your own workplace or your homes, to make a cluster of it. Why? That's right. But if you want to do similar things for edible items, you can still do it. Your wonderful red chili, so bamboo shoots, you can form, I mean, that is going to be covered under women empowerment, which is announced in this budget. The SHG groups, who will have an identified product which they can produce. The budget announcement is going to enable you have somebody who can professionally tell you how to go about it, how to market it, how to brand it, and manage your core accounts. Instead of being, one frittered group here and there, if with that one product in which you want to, not necessarily papads and pickles, anything else you want to do, the new announcement in the budget is to bring in the self-help groups of women to benefit from the budget announcement. So these, other than that, I was talking about how common facilities can reach every district where a product has been identified. This example I am drawing from UP, which Nirmala Sitharaman or some was it there? No, before one district one. That's right. So that was also used. No, UP also used it. So there are schemes. Only I want either the state government or the chambers of commerce, which are here only looking at what tax concessions can you give. Work with people who want also facilities. Work with people also who are not your members, but who collectively can help promote the economy of the state. So please don't get yourself confined only to registered companies who are accounting the stock market. These are potential stock market stuff. So either the Chamber of Commerce or you yourself should put together an idea, pass it to your Chief Secretary, and through the Chief Secretary let it come. If you, whatever the Uber Sitare or any other program can work for Sikkim if it worked for somebody else. You have to be all ears and all eyes of knowing what the central government schemes are. You may be far away from Delhi, but nowadays that distance doesn't matter. You are instantly getting informed through the electronic medium. Get the information, ask the state government saying, why can't we benefit out of it? And if they don't, send it to us. We'll ask them here.
Thank you, ma'am.
So thank you. It was a very interesting gathering. We put it all up.
With your permission, ma'am, will you please conclude this program? So may I please request Srimati Neenu Kumar, Commissioner Central GST Appeals, Siliguri, to please deliver the vote of thanks.
Most respected Honorable Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs, Madam Nirmala Sitharaman, Honorable Minister of State for Finance, Chintan Bhawan, Dr. T.V. Somanathan, Finance and Expenditure Secretary, Shri Ajay Seth, Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs, Shri Vivek Joshi, Secretary, Department of Financial Services, Shri Sanjay Malhotra, Secretary, Revenue, and all the senior most officers from the ministry, members of the trade, and distinguished guests and dignitaries present here today, a very good evening to all. On behalf of Chief Commissioner, CGST and Central Excise Kolkata Zone, it is my privilege to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all for sparing your valuable time to attend this event and to have this very meaningful post-budget interactive session. Madam, first and foremost, we thank your kind self for leading us to organize this initiative and to reach out to the trade and industry of this very beautiful and progressive state of Sikkim and to help Sikkim to gain new economic Thank you, Madam, for taking note of all the local concerns of the trade and giving us several ideas for the way forward for the inclusive growth using the natural resources. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all the senior officials of the Union Finance Ministry also for addressing and clarifying all the queries of the trade. So coherently and guiding them forward with the way forward, as well as reminding them of all the provisions
already available in the government, as well as the provisions made in the budget provisions of this year, and we shall be addressing all the issues shortly. Madam, this initiative to have a fruitful dialogue with the officers of the Union Finance Ministry and the trade of the state for the effective implementation of the budget proposals will go a long way to make the GST laws even more trade and user-friendly. This will lead towards a more efficient tax administration as well as encourage a hassle-free environment for tax compliance that will eventually help to mitigate avoidable litigation. I also take this opportunity to thank the representatives from the trade and industry, the Sikkim Chambers of Commerce, the members of the ICAI from Gangtok and Siliguri who are present here today, for flagging the relevant issues and for offering suggestions and solutions. These suggestions will prove to be useful while drafting the future government fiscal policies too. I also convey our heartfelt thanks to the members of the media and press. Last but not the least, I thank the Chief Secretary of Sikkim and the state government to provide us this venue and to organize this entire event so that it could be conducted smoothly. With this, we once again thank all the honorable dignitaries and the senior-most officers for this excellent opportunity of one-to-one interaction with the stakeholders and to provide an enabling environment for the best tax practices in this Amrit Kaal. Thank you and namaskar.
Now the dignitaries, may I please request them to proceed for the press conference which is concluded in the adjoining room. May I request all members of the audience to please remain seated. All